Ja.
Welkom allemaal op een nieuw Volkskrant kantoortuinconcert. De 11e geloof ik. Dit keer met Courtney Marie Andrews. Een singer-songwriter uit Amerika. Ze is pas 27, maar draait al 10 jaar mee en heeft al 6 albums uitgebracht. En haar laatste is net uitgekomen in maart en heet May Your Kindness Remain. En ze gaat daar een paar nummers van spelen. Geef er een luid applaus. Courtney Marie Andrews.
Hi. How are you guys? Yes, I know. There's AC in here, though. Feels right at home when there's AC. Thanks for coming. This is a song called Irene. It's off my record, Honest Life.
Both know, Irene, they won't come true at the bottom of a well. Gain some confidence, Irene. If you speak, let your voice ring out. But keep your grace, Irene. Don't go falling in love with yourself. You are a magnet, Irene. Sometimes good people draw troublesome things. Sometimes good people draw troublesome things. Control who it wants to love. So let it love, Irene. Man or woman or anyone at once. You dream of the north, Irene. Well then that's where you ought to be. You gotta want it, Irene. Don't follow any path half-heartedly. You are a magnet, Irene. Sometimes good people draw troublesome things. Sometimes good people draw troublesome things. Sometimes good people draw troublesome things. Sometimes good people draw troublesome things.
going to play a song that's off my record that I just released. Before I got to do music full time, I supported my music by bartending for about a year. And when I was a bartender, there's lots of characters at my bar. It was in a rural Washington state with a lot of, regulars. It was kind of like a sitcom, like every night. It was the same people. And one of the guys had a sort of air tank that he'd carry around, and he'd drink about 6 whiskey waters a night, and usually about the end of the night I'd try and convince him not to drive home. And one night he looked at me in the eye and he goes, darling, I'm just a little rough around the edges. And I loved the way he said it. There's kind of this little sparkle charm in his eye. And it just hit me that I needed to write a song with that lyric in it. And so I wrote the song. It's on the new record. It's called Rough Around the Edges.
Duct tape me, there's exhaust pouring out. Always late, never unwound. When will I learn to shut my mouth? Guess I'm rough around the edges. Honey, you find the beauty in simple things, in desert sunsets and in movie scenes. I see the flaws and all the in-betweens. The past was cruel and it caught up with me. Guess I'm rough around the edges. Honey, I'm rough around the edges. Curtains closed so I can sleep in late. Nothing on the TV, but it always plays. Dirty dishes, buds in the ashtray. Don't feel like picking up the damn phone today. I'm feeling rough around the edges. Honey, I'm rough around the edges. If I let you down, baby, don't take it too hard. When my mind becomes a question mark, when I want closure, then I get confused. I don't believe in much, but I believe in you. I'm just rough around the edges. Honey, I'm rough around the edges.
So, I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. Has anybody here been to Arizona? Yeah. It's quite a unique place to grow up. Saguaros and strange creatures. And anyway, I grew up really close to the border between Mexico And unfortunately, for about 16 years, we had an evil sheriff. His name was Sheriff Joe Arpaio. And I worked right next to his office. And he was very inhumane to everybody, but mainly immigrants. And it was quite a shame, so there's lots of protests about it. And so I wrote this song about an immigrant trying to make a life for themselves in a country they weren't privileged enough to have been born into. And so this is a song called Border.
Cover your neck, it'll burn your lips. Thorns in his hair, dust in his teeth. Coyote man, land of the free. Hey, water can, land of the free, land of the free. There is always a reason, a story to tell. You cannot measure a man until you've been down the deepest well. And when I get to the land of the brave, gonna buy me a hammer and work all day. Send it all back to the family. Save a few bucks for that bowl canteen. Stand outside that hardware store. Don't matter the job they need me for, need me for. There is always a reason, a story to tell. But you cannot measure a man until you've been down the deepest well.
There you are.
There,
I was looking to the right.
yeah. Well, thanks so much for being here, Courtney.
Yeah.
I just want to talk to you about the album. It conveys a very strong message of like empathy and compassion. I think the songs are quite melancholy, but also very hopeful. What made you write in this way in these times?
Well, I think it's sort of easy to write if you live in America right now. And
why so?
Yeah. It's just a very tumultuous time. There's a lot of tension and a lot of division. Mm-hmm. And I think for a lot of reasons, it's the first time a lot of people have been woken up to the issues that are sort of happening. And I lived for a few years in a small rural town where I guess rural poverty was actually quite common. And it's sort of is all around America, not just in rural areas, but in cities as well. But it sort of struck a lot of stories in me that I didn't even realize or notice until I wrote the songs, sort of. And I think by nature I'm a hopeful person, so even when the stories are dark, I sort of have to, for my own health, add a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Right. So,
but is it harder to be an optimist now? Or?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's yeah. I'm not saying it's not. It's not something that I attain all the time, an optimism. Mm-hmm. But I do feel like there is power in that, and standing with that, because you can't. Giving up would be sort of synonymous with pessimism. Right. So, yeah.
And do you think the stories about these like the darker gritty side of America, the working class people you're talking about, do they strike a chord there? How do they respond to it?
I'm not sure if they even know it's about them. You know,
Okay.
I don't think I go into the working class neighborhood. If it relates to somebody, I think that's great. You know, I definitely never would put that on them. That this is about you. You know, so I hope it just strikes a chord because they're stories about people. You know,
Right.
real people. So that's the most important part to me.
You said you were growing up in Phoenix, Arizona. I read that you started out in a feminist punk band there in music.
Yes.
It had a great name. Could you tell us what it was?
Yes, it was called Massacre in a Miniskirt.
Right. and was it like really powerful? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned some power chords and thought I could be in a punk band, so I wrote songs inspired by Bikini Kill and sort of that whole movement of the 90s. And
Bikini Kill is also similar to Massacre in a Miniskirt.
yeah,
The name.
Yeah. I was obviously influenced by Bikini Kill. So yeah, that was the first music as a teenager. You know, I grew up with country music. My grandpa was a rancher and a roofer, and so obviously I grew up country, but I rebelled and tried to discover punk, and only to get back into the music that I grew up with.
And did you still? Well, has punk changed the way you make folk or country? Or
I still love punk music. I think there's going to be a part of me, but yes, it's there's a lot of similarities actually between punk and folk. There's sort of this like camaraderie that comes with both musics.
in the movement or in the scene?
In the movement and just in being there, you know, just to this togetherness that I feel like a power to the people type thing, like that's relies. I mean, Woody Guthrie was punk, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
Like he absolutely was. He was punk, and so I feel like they're very similar in a lot of ways.
It's more of an attitude than a genre.
Yeah, I think the difference is, and the reason that I sort of migrated when I got older to folk and that sort of line of music is that I love poetry, and quite frankly, like folk has better platform for storytelling. And so when I realized that, I was like, oh, well, this is more my genre. Yeah.
I heard you stayed a couple of months in Belgium, quite close here, of course. What brought you there?
I was a backup singer.
Okay, of who?
Milo.
Milo. Oh yeah, we know him, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For like 3 months.
And where was that?
It was in Leuven.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And how was it to be there?
It was, well, I had just gone through a breakup, so it was awful.
Oh, sorry.
Literally the day I arrived, we broke up.
Okay.
So that's where I wrote my entire album, Honest Life.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was your breakthrough, right?
Yeah. I wilted and then bloomed.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
very nice to hear. I think we would love to hear another song, if that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So please take the stage.
Great. So this is the title track for my new record. It's called May Your Kindness Remain. I wrote this after having dinner with a friend who was concerned about me moving to LA because he was afraid that I would become Hollywood. So I wrote this for him.
You're a good woman and a good friend. You got a good heart even when it's busted and bent. Lipstick and perfume, underground queen, wearing loneliness like a costume for the whole world to see. And if your money runs out and your good looks fade, may your kindness remain. Oh, may your kindness remain. The richest of people aren't rich with houses, cars, or fame. No, they're not rich with something that can be bought or arranged. No, it's kindness that makes them beautiful, and a kind heart don't cost a dime. It's a gift